I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch network. I want to show you this video of the governor of Illinois, JB Pritzker. And in this video, JB Pritzker is slamming Ron DeSantis, the MAGA Republican governor of Florida. And Pritzker's pointing out just the truth that large media networks refuse to cover because they like to try to exalt these right-wing demagogues. And Pritzker's saying, look, right here in Illinois, our education system is significantly better than what they are doing in Florida. And then when DeSantis tries to defend his policies, he just uses the term woke because, and by the way, he doesn't even know what woke means because DeSantis is just doing performative demagoguery. Let's play this clip of JB Pritzker, the governor of Illinois. Play the clip.
I think teachers are worthy of investing in, and by the way, we shouldn't be banning books from our libraries. Teachers shouldn't be forced to, toss books away or put them in a drawer. And the truth is that we actually have a much better education system in Illinois than they have in Florida. We're ranked higher than they are. U.S. News and World Report ranks K-12 education in Illinois 6th in the country and number 1 among the largest states in the country. So he's got nothing to brag about when it comes to education. So he moves on and tries to use this word woke to describe everything. He doesn't even know what the word means, and he has no definition of it. It's just anything he doesn't like is wokeism. And all I can tell you is that I don't know what that means, and frankly, what I can say about Illinois is that we're a state that cares about equity. We're a state that cares about our families. We're making the investments that are required so that our youngest children will do better and better. And I'm really excited about the direction of our state, as opposed to a state where they don't make the investments that are necessary to lift up their education system or their healthcare system.
I couldn't agree more with JB Pritzker there. And, you think about it. The large media networks, they devote so much attention to DeSantis. It's like the same thing they did with Trump. Rather than call DeSantis out for his horrible policies and the actual impact of what DeSantis is implementing, which is horrible for the state of Florida. I mean, Florida can actually attain so much better. I mean, they're struggling with home insurance, and the ability to rent there is borderline impossible right now. And the education system in Florida is horrific right now. And, one of the bills that they're introducing right now is House Bill 999, which basically reflects DeSantis's policy of leaving all of the faculty hiring to the Board of Trustees, allowing faculty members' tenures to be reviewed at any time, and removing majors or minors at higher education institutions in subjects like critical race theory and gender studies. And it would also prohibit spending on activities that promote diversity, equity, and inclusion, and create new general education requirements. Essentially would allow DeSantis to completely gut higher education in Florida. And DeSantis has done the same with all education in Florida, and kindergarten through high school education as well. And, he tries to say, well, we're not banning books. It's discretionary if it violates our CRT standards. They just make up words, which they then implement policies behind that actually result in impacts of retaliating against teachers and attacking teachers. And it's intentional and purposeful, and it's an attack on education. One of the things DeSantis also said that he is doing and is implementing is trying to ban all of AP studies, which is very important to high school students who, want to gain credits for college and to take important coursework, because he feels intimidated by them or embarrassed by them because of the fact that they had AP African history, African American history, and he got into a whole thing with them over that. And he wants to replace it with a Christian form of education, in public schools, mind you, and no longer respecting the separation of church or state. And by the way, whatever you want to study outside of public education is fine, but replacing AP studies with that doesn't really comport with what our Constitution says. And it also is like, let's make sure we encourage the best education. Here's another clip, though, of JB Pritzker saying, look, we can't take sides we must take sides when it comes to certain issues. And we can't just sit on the sidelines. Sorry, that's what I meant. So we can't sit on these sidelines when it comes to certain issues. And this is an issue that I'm not going to sit on the sidelines for. Here, play this clip.
This is the land of Lincoln. We have a responsibility to that legacy. As Elie Wiesel said, we must always take sides. Neutrality helps the oppressor, never the victim. Silence encourages the tormentor, never the tormented. With that in mind, I want to take sides on something that I feel obligated to speak out about, especially given the history of anti-Semitism and discrimination suffered by my ancestors and that persists for so many others today. There is a virulent strain of nationalism plaguing our nation, led by demagogues who are pushing censorship, with a particular attack right now on school board members and library trustees. It's an ideological battle by the right wing, hiding behind a claim that they would protect our children, but whose real intention is to marginalize people and ideas they don't like. This has been done in the past, and it doesn't stop with just snuffing out ideas. This afternoon, I've laid out a budget agenda that does everything possible to invest in the education of our children. Yet it's all meaningless if we become a nation that bans books from school libraries about racism suffered by Roberto Clemente and Hank Aaron, and tells kids that they can't talk about being gay. And that signals to Black and brown people and Asian Americans and Jews and Muslims that our authentic stories can't be told. Look, I'm the father of 2 children. I care a great deal about their education. Like every good parent, I want to be involved in what they learn. I'm also a proud American. Our nation has a great history and much to be proud of, and I want my children to learn that history, but I don't want them to be lied to. I want them to learn our true history, warts and all. Illinois' young people shouldn't be kept from learning about the realities of the world. I want them to become critical thinkers, exposed to ideas that they disagree with, proud of what our nation has overcome, and thoughtful about what comes next. Here in Illinois, we don't hide from the truth, we embrace it. That's what makes us strong.
And also when it comes to being fiscally conservative, what I've always said is that, I'm sick and tired of letting MAGA Republicans call themselves fiscal conservatives when they do such damage to our country. It's been at the federal level, Democratic administrations that have balanced budgets and have reduced the deficit. It's been Republican administrations that have increased the debt and increased the deficit. Look, 25% of our national debt comes from Donald Trump. That shouldn't be shocking because his entire career, he bankrupted everything he touched. And all the times when Donald Trump continued to add to our debt, again, 1/4 of our debt is from Donald Trump. That's just facts. The MAGA Republicans continue to raise the debt ceiling. Yet with President Biden, someone who's cut the deficit, who's reduced our debt, now we have to pay the bills that the arsonist Donald Trump has created That's what raising the debt ceiling is. It's about paying bills in the past. Now MAGA Republicans want to try to cause America to default on its debt, to default on its full faith and credit. But here's another clip of Pritzker on, I think he was on Bloomberg, or he was on Bloomberg, saying, look, we balance the budget here in Illinois. Like, we have fiscally responsible policies. Play the clip.
Well, from the very beginning, we knew we had work to do. We were one notch above junk rating when I took office. And then, of course, we had the pandemic hit us. So from the beginning, though, we passed a balanced budget. And every year of my term, we've balanced the budget. That didn't happen before. We were running a structural deficit. We're essentially eliminating that deficit. And now, not only have we gotten credit upgrades for the last 2 years, but we're, I hope, headed for even more, even after this S&P raise to A-.
You know, there's this broader failure, though, that's going on in large media networks that we don't fall for here on the MeidasTouch network. And what they do is they exalt the demagogues, and they don't really talk about the great accomplishments of people who are doing good work, right? I guess Democrats, governors who are just doing their jobs and helping the people, well, that's not sexy enough for large media networks to report on. So they report on people like in the outrageous policies of DeSantis and Abbott. And look in Ohio, look at DeWine. DeWine ignored the phone calls, refused to take the phone calls from President Biden, who was offering to help Ohio after the train derailment. And DeWine was doing it to help the company who was a big donor of DeWine. You got Abbott in Texas who can't even keep the lights on. Yet the media, when they cover these demagogues, they promote them. They normalize the behavior. Meanwhile, you've got incredible Democratic governors, and I'm only going to list a few here, but I put Pritzker into the category of very strong Democratic governors who are just doing good work for the people. You got Gavin Newsom in California. You got Jared Polis in Colorado, Ned Lamont in Connecticut. You've got Andy Beshear in Kentucky. In Republican Kentucky, you have a Democratic governor who's united the state, who's widely popular for implementing very popular policies that help people, that deliver for people. In Michigan, you got Gretchen Whitmer, right? Just think about it. Do you ever hear the media talk about Gretchen Whitmer? Gretchen Whitmer is an all-star. Yet all the media, and by the way, someone who could be president one day, yet you don't hear the media network talk about her at all. They just talk about DeSantis, this very powerful move by DeSantis. Powerful move? These are fascist moves. These are anti-American moves that he's making. These are racist and hateful moves that he's making. Meanwhile, Gretchen Whitmer's running the state of Michigan, one of the largest states in America, very, very, very successfully, calmly, compassionately, unlike the erratic, emotional behavior of Ron DeSantis. There's a big difference there. And so I want to highlight people like Pritzker and his statements. And I like that Democratic governors are starting to call out this performative MAGA Republican governor incompetence and fascism. I hope we see more of them. We'll certainly highlight them here on the MeidasTouch network. Now, do me a favor if you can. Hit the subscribe button. We're on our way to 1 million subscribers thanks to your support. In March, we're going to try to hit 1 million subscribers. We're calling it the March to 1 million. So hit subscribe wherever you get your audio podcasts. If you can, search for MeidasTouch podcast. That's the podcast I do with my two brothers. It's free to subscribe to our audio podcast. So please, if you can, search. And if you already like it, leave a 5-star review. Let me know what you think about the MeidasTouch podcast, though. So please search that. And also check us out at patreon.com/MeidasTouch, patreon.com/MeidasTouch. We've got a lot of great content there, exclusive content. At the Patreon site, there's paid memberships there. And the reason we do that is we don't have any outside investors who fund the MeidasTouch network. And so the way we fund this is through our Patreon. So wherever you are in the world, if you're like, I really love this network and I'm able to support it financially, don't worry if you can't. There's no pressure at all. But if you can, I get asked sometimes, what can we do? Well, join one of those memberships. It helps grow this platform. It does go a long way. And that's it. We're 100% independent, 100% accountable to you. So thank you all so much for watching this. And again, now you can hit subscribe here. Until next time, I'm Ben Meiselas.
The best part of waking up? MAGA tears in my cup. Check out the new MAGA tears mug available now at store.MeidasTouch.com. That's store.MeidasTouch.com. It's 100% union made right here in the USA. I know I'm not tired of winning yet. How about you? Get yours today.